Mullinger's Weekly Ramble.
Hello, my friends. It is Wednesday, the 6th of May, 2026, which of course means it is time for episode 81 of Mullinger's Weekly Ramble. I am in an incredible mood today. So many wonderful things have happened in the last few days. But first, this is the episode in which I am going to reel off 50, that's right, 50 brand new jokes based on subjects that you have all given me. Thank you to everyone who has responded to the posts I put out on the socials last week. Who says I'm addicted to comedy? That's right, I just got back from Winnipeg Comedy Festival, was flying high, then hot-footed it straight to Bathurst for a wonderful gig. And then, if you can believe it, I had a couple of days off over the weekend. So I decided to put myself to the challenge of writing 50 brand new jokes for this podcast, mainly because I'm trying to make this podcast a bit less rambly and a bit more funny. And what better way to make it funny than to give you 50 brand new jokes. I should point out, you have all been very kind as to put forward all these wonderful suggestions and ideas for me to improvise jokes on. Quality not guaranteed, satisfaction not guaranteed. Me improvising jokes is a bit like having sex with me. There is absolutely no guarantee of satisfaction. I mean, I'll be satisfied, don't get me wrong, but I can't guarantee that you will be. It will be awkward for all of us. There's going to be silence. There's going to be silence from you. It's exactly like, I can't hear you, but I am in your ears. Thank you, by the way, for tuning in again. Should we kick in with some of these jokes before I start waffling and rambling and getting distracted by all the other things? Like, for example, the wonderful gig I did yesterday morning at the Fredericton Convention Centre for the beautiful people of the Canadian Public Procurement Council, a non-profit organisation which is essentially the unsung heroes of this country, i.e. the amazing, kind, beautiful people whose job is essentially, and I believe, to create the best purchasing practices for government and communities and I guess schools. Essentially, their job is getting the best deals for the taxpayer. An honourable in an age where a lot of us feel sometimes like possibly our tax dollars are not spent the way we want, especially if you happen to live in America, where you getting dragged into wars that I don't think you really wanted to be involved in. I think you all kind of wanted nurses and teachers and heroes to be more fairly treated. You didn't want to be murdering people overseas. But anyway, not to get distracted by things. My point is that the absolute heroes of our community, and it was a joy to perform for them at 8:30 in the morning yesterday morning. I think some comedians would shy away from 8:30 a.m. I absolutely love it. I have to say, I've done a few gigs recently where I've been doing the keynote or the after dinner stand up at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night at events where the attendees, the delegates, the beautiful people have in some cases been in that room that we're kind of speaking in and performing in since kind of basically for 12 hours. They've been in and out of that room. I find 8:30 in the morning is a very, very sweet spot. I mean, I say that with, I guess, the pinch of salt of the fact that I'm saying that right now because I feel absolutely amazing because yesterday went so beautifully well. And it was thanks to getting an extremely, very, very clear brief from the lovely people at the CPPC. It was also from impeccable organising. Ellen, the event organiser, was just one of these absolutely meticulous, spot-on, details-oriented, kind people. And of course, Encore. Bill and his team at Encore in at the convention centre, everything was just perfect. Timer, comfort monitor, of course, and then if it helps, the crowd obviously all wanted to be there and came in with the right atmosphere. Anyway, I was prepared. It went great. Felt over the moon. Had a very similar experience last week, again in Bathurst, performing for the beautiful people who work for the city of Bathurst to celebrate the fact that they have just won the award for best place in Atlantic Canada to work. They are the first municipality to win this award. I mean, that is how great a place Bathurst. I mean, everyone knows and loves Bathurst. What many people don't realise is how much Bathurst is on the up and up. So I did a gig for them last Thursday at 2 p.m. in the afternoon at the KC Irving Arena. And again, And absolutely, and basically, I talked about this before, about the fact that my entire happiness in life is basically based on how the last gig was. Like this morning, my son said to me, he was like, "Well, Dad, you're in a good mood." And I'm like, "Well, yes, I'm in an amazing mood because yesterday's gig went well. Of course, if it hadn't gone well, I'd be in a terrible mood. Isn't it pathetic that your entire life's happiness is completely decided?" But anyway, like I said, don't want to get distracted. I'm also very excited because this afternoon I'm having a catch up at 3 p.m. with a very old friend and a hero. It's not many people in life we can admire our friends. Not many people that you can call yourself a genuine, like, lifelong fan of, a hero and a friend. And the gentleman I'm talking to this afternoon is all three of those things, and one of the very few. It is, of course, Mr. Lloyd Kaufman, the founder of Troma Films Entertainment, the director, creator of The Toxic Avenger, and without question, one of the greatest movie minds and filmmakers of all time, if not my favorite. I mean, certainly the filmmaker that's basically brought me the most joy of all time ever. Lloyd Kaufman, number one, Tarantino, possibly number two, Martin Scorsese, number three. They have a wonderful section, and actually, it's only certain video shops really pay proper respect of great directors. And one is a Spin It Records in Moncton, and they have an amazing section of VHS for sale and DVD for rental and for sale. And they have a big section of Lloyd Kaufman. Anyway, I'm going to catch up with Lloyd Kaufman this afternoon for an article I'm writing for the British horror magazine, The Dark Side magazine, and some of this content also might find its way into my next book, which due to the fact that it's still being edited and has a deadline now, I believe has been extended to 2 weeks' time from now. It means that I can keep adding stuff because I'm a psycho like that. I get distracted. So we're going to get to the jokes. 50 jokes that you've suggested. Bish bash bosh, sweet as a nut, lovely jubbly. I've also discovered, this is the other thing that I found out, that's got me going in a very good mood, is that I discovered that I'm sitting. I have various VHS videos that I knew were worth money, old kind of rare video nasty preserts from the early days of video rental back in the UK. But I just discovered that I'm sitting on a lot of American VHS tapes that I had no idea were worth a lot of money. Tapes that I mean, it quite shocking how they have increased in value in a very short time. Literally, yard sale and Value Village purchases from a few years ago, I mean, literally like kind of 5 to 10 years ago, for $1 a pop, have, let's just say, significantly increased in value. So another reason to be in a good mood. I'm also sitting here next to a big pile of newspapers, thanks to my friend Zacco, who subscribes to... Obviously, we can't buy newspapers here in Atlantic Canada, but my friend is absolute legend. He orders the newspapers, the New York Times, the Financial Times, from Atlantic News in Halifax, and has them sent to him. So I'm sitting with a big... It's insane when you sit and read a newspaper. The things... I mean, it sounds obvious to say it, but the fact that basically the entire population of Atlantic Canada isn't reading a newspaper, and I pick up the newspaper, the amount of stuff that's going into my head that I'm learning is just crazy. Later on in this episode, I will actually go through some of these newspapers, and just give you an example. Just like the New York Times, you pick it up, there's like 10 sections. One section will be the magazine, and in it is 20 stories about things that you would literally have no idea about, because it would never pass your algorithm, because whoever it was that was doing the investigating, the writing, whatever, isn't paying Zuckerberg the bribe to... anyway, not to get distracted, if anyone, by the way, Zacco very kindly lets me have the newspapers after he's finished with them. I kind of operate a kind of a James Mullinger recycling service whereby I am the recycling bin. If anyone out there is an avid newspaper reader, would like to know what's happening in the world, I would be more than happy to pass on the newspapers to you after I have read them. We should keep these newspapers going, keep this kind of portable mobile library service going. Do you remember the mobile library? Was that a thing here? It was a thing in England where the library would drive around and deliver books to people's houses, and you could actually climb on board and look at the books. They had another one actually also of Dirty Dave, I think his name was. It would have like a mobile porn VHS delivery service. Speaking of which, in Bathurst, I discovered there's Bathurst, by the way, a city on the up and up. And you know it's on the up and up because, I mean, there's one street. I went to had a great burger there. Let me see the burger recommendation. It's called, what was it called? It's called Burger... Why don't I have it written down? It's called. It used to be called something else, obviously, and now it's got. Oh, I think I've written down here. It's a District Burger. Absolutely wonderful. It's at the hotel there, which was the Best Western. I remember doing a show in Bathurst a few years ago with Nathan Dimitrov, the great Nathan Dimitrov, at Studio 2, which is there's I think it's Black Dog Records now down there. Beneath a bank. It was actually also where Shane Ogden and I did a gig about 12 years ago. One of the funnest nights of my life, doing this show on the Friday night with Nathan. Not, I guess I can say this because no one's going to get in trouble now because it's closed. The owners were absolute legends. When the show ended, and the kind of the about midnight, they put the curtains down, locked the doors. We had a proper old school British lock in. Basically sat there drinking all night. Even got the ashtrays out, was smoking indoors. It was amazing. It was just like the 90s. What's my point? And that was the fun night. And then the Saturday, the tragic news that our friend, our beloved comedian and partner in crime, Martin Saulnier, had passed, and that was a very, very tough gig to do. A Friday night barnstorming gig, have the time of your life, party all night, worst news ever the next day. Then you have to go and do. I think we did 2 shows that night, but Nathan had the wonderful idea to put Martin's face on the screens in the venue. So while we were performing, he was there with us. God, I have had some terrible. Had to do gigs after getting the worst news because it's not a job that you can necessarily bail on when you receive. Sorry, the jokes. Oh my God, my whole plan was to literally start this podcast with the 50 jokes. That way, people keep listening rather than going, oh fuck this, he's banging on again and getting distracted. Okay, here we go. Just a reminder, just in case I put out the call out because I'm a complete lunatic. I'd done a dozen gigs in the space of a couple of weeks, had 3 days off, so decided to try and write 50 brand new jokes based on suggestions that you made. Put the video call out. You all kindly commented in droves. I must point out, if any of your suggestions don't make it this week, please remind me. Either email me, jamesmullinger@gmail.com, or comment below or whatever. Okay, here we go. Alan Butler asked me to do a joke about river flooding. I do, of course, have one joke about river flooding that I sometimes make. Interesting, this is the time of year that it often is the worst, isn't it? I have one joke about the fact that when we moved here, people used to say, why the hell did you, rather than saying welcome or greetings, they'd say, why the hell did you move here? And I used to say, why would you say that? Look around, you've got beautiful views, friendly people, and thanks to annual flooding, waterfront mansions that cost 79 cents. Old joke, so that's not the joke, so that doesn't count towards the 50. I think I did do it on, I did it on my Winnipeg Comedy Festival taping a few weeks ago, so it was interesting because it popped bigger than I thought it would. I wasn't sure if that joke would be got outside of the Maritimes, but hey, I guess there's floods everywhere, right, Moses? Okay, here we go. Alan Butler wants to joke about river flooding. You got it. In New Brunswick, river flooding isn't a natural disaster anymore. It's more of a spring tradition. Other places have tulips. Here in New Brunswick, we just have a canoe going past a Tim Hortons drive-through. Oh my God, laughing at my own jokes. My son said I'm bad at doing that. That was terrible. Why am I? Well, I did write it, and I do think it's quite funny. Does it work? We have a canoe going. Is it going past a Tim Hortons drive-through or through a Tim Hortons drive-through? When I wrote it, when I wrote through a Tim Hortons drive-through, it didn't feel like having the 2 throughs would pop as much because it's distracting. So even though it's not strictly speaking going past a Tim Hortons drive-through, and it's funny that it's going through a Tim Hortons drive-through. So anyone seen a tractor going through a Tim Hortons drive-through? I have. It's a wonderful thing. I saw it in Sussex, obviously. There was a shotgun hanging off the back of the tractor. And I was in the tractor as well, with my wife's uncle. Anyway, so yeah, there's joke number one. Alan Butler. That's good. If you don't like it, let me know. I'll come up with another one. So I'm going to say it one more time. No, don't. Move on, James. No one needs to hear the same joke twice. Oh, well, they will have done if they've seen your act. In New Brunswick, river flooding isn't. I'm going to try. This is how I would do it on stage. This is how I would do it on stage. Here in New Brunswick, we really, ham up the Peaky Blinders voice. Here in New Brunswick, river flooding is not a natural disaster. No, it's more of a spring tradition. Other places have tulips. Not here. Not here. I always do that, don't I? Not here. Here in New Brunswick, we have a canoe going through a Tim Hortons drive-through. We have a canoe ordering. We have a canoe, or we have a man in a canoe ordering a anyway, whatever. Tell me what you think. Tell me what's the best way. Joke writers out there, listen. Caitlin Dean. We have a canoe going past a Tim Hortons drive-thru or through a Tim Hortons drive-thru, which is funny. Incidentally, if anyone has not seen Caitlin Dean lately, please do so, because you will be rewarded with muchios laughter. We did a show together at the Hampton Brewing Company a few weeks ago, and did I really talk about this on the podcast? I can't remember, but she absolutely ripped the roof off, and basically took some brewery gigs, or any gig really, where it's not a club and there's no build-up music, etc. It can be a slow starter, and the opener after has to bite the bullet to get people going. Caitlin Dean rocks up to the stage, hits them from literally the absolute get-go, like second number 10 of 10 seconds into the gig. Boom, massive laugh. 16th of... Okay. Caitlin Dean is also appearing at the Imperial Theatre as part of the big band benefit in support of the New Brunswick Heart Centre on May the 16th. And I will get back to you, Caitlin, about something we discussed on that. Anyway, I shouldn't be leaving private messages for people who I could actually be texting through the podcast. Okay, next up, Painful Comedy. Be sure to follow Painful Comedy, Payneful Comedy. That is Nikki Payne. She wants a joke on being a workaholic. Now, I think that is also her joke, because she's suggesting, what kind of a lunatic am I? She has seen, we were together in Halifax, then we were together in Winnipeg. She's aware of the fact that I've been basically gigging every single night. And I think she is clearly referring to the fact that I'm a complete lunatic, that I get 1 or 2 days off performing, and instead I decide to write 50 jokes. But here's my joke. Being a workaholic is weird, because here in 2026, people treat it like a strength. No one ever says, I'm an alcoholic. I just love a drink. I'm passionate. Well, am I laughing at my own jokes? Don't do that, James. River says it's not cool. But workaholics are like, I haven't seen my family in 6 weeks. And everyone goes, wow, now that's leadership. It is a crazy fact that a workaholic used to be considered a negative thing, I feel, in the noughties. But then once, no offense millennials, but once we saw how millennials work, we all started embracing workaholics, because we were like, fuck, if this carries on. But then nothing prepared us for Gen Z, did it? But it is weird, yeah. It's like workaholic seems to be the only aholic that is seen as like a good thing. I haven't seen my family in 6 weeks. I'm never home. I live out of the office. Well, that's a person ripe for a promotion. You're not going to get one because the system is rigged against you, but that is leadership. And that joke possibly works better in bigger cities, because actually possibly in New Brunswick, not being a workaholic, being more family/quality of life oriented is respected more in New Brunswick, but that's possibly why nothing gets done. Maybe we need a bit of a balance. We need a balance between the London. I had a joke about that once, about the fact that I don't miss anything about my old life in London. Don't miss anything about that the rat race, the pressure. When do you need it? Last week. When's the deadline? Yesterday. But now living in New Brunswick, I have a slightly different outlook of like, well, it'd be nice if it happened some bloody time. Caitlin Dean, and I believe this is also on TikTok. So follow Caitlin on Caitlin Dean, KATELINDEAN 1983. How iPhone finally added a trombone emoji in its latest iOS update. I knew that already, Caitlin, because I think you were so excited about that fact that for some reason my algorithm was popping up with, and we know the algorithm is often doesn't show you what you want to see. I did want to see this, but it was you or someone else commenting on basically everywhere I looked was people telling you, or you telling people about the trombone emoji. Okay, I mean, I love that Apple have added a trombone emoji. I mean, it's optimism. I love the fact that somewhere in the Apple offices, someone went, people are ready. It is time to let them fully express full band emotion. Because let's face it, sometimes a thumbs up isn't enough. Sometimes you need to say, well done, but with a little bit of flair. Maybe the trombone emoji could become something filthy. Because let's face it, when they put the eggplant in there, do you think it was more for like someone messaging their partner to tell their partner what to pick up from the farmer's market today? Oh yeah, I'm heading to Cochrane's. What shall I get? Well, only get the salmon and the chicken, but only if it's on special. Don't want to pay full price. Get the chicken or the salmon if it's on special. I'll have a Marcy's salad, please, but only if they've got the what's it called? This would work better. Peanut Crunch. If they've got the Peanut Crunch or the Go-To, don't want any of those. And get the quiche, and don't get the quiche actually, because last time I got the Black Forest ham quiche from Cochrane's, I ate the entire thing in one go and went back to get another one. Shout out to Andrew Armstrong, by the way, who everyone needs a friend like this in your life. When I am... It doesn't happen. It hasn't happened in a long time, but basically about 10 years ago, I had such a bad hangover that I couldn't get out of bed. I think I had alcohol poisoning. It was possible. Drank a whole bottle of Jaeger and then thought a load of caffeine pills would help. Anyway, he left a Black Forest quiche from Cochrane's on my doorstep. I ate it all in bed out of the silver tray. There's the only two people the only two addicts that use silver trays are people that chase the dragon and quiche junkies. And I have to say that, but I mean, obviously a lot of drugs are very dangerous these days. It's funny how heroin now is being looked on with some fondness for its kind of like, remember the good old days where heroin was only killing a few thousand people a year. Now, terrible fentanyl does all this terrible heroin, fentanyl cases. Get back to the jokes, James. My point is this. How on earth did I get onto this? The eggplant emoji was probably meant to be like pick up an eggplant at the farmer's market, and then it became like, oh no, this is to like show like it's like a, if you're not quite ready to send a dick pic, you send the eggplant, and the eggplant's the one that's jizzing, isn't it? I wonder what the trombone would it reference fisting? I don't know. A lot of I want to see Nikki Glaser's new special on Disney Plus. A lot of fisting in it. I mean, not actual fisting. Her talking about fisting. It's my favorite of her specials in that I love. It's weird, Nikki Glaser, because I love her I like her as an interview subject. I love her when she does roasts. I find the stand-up not always to my liking because it's actually beyond filthy. This one was very filthy, but I was happy to go along for the ride and enjoyed it. It's very interesting her doing 10 minutes of fisting, pro fisting jokes with her father and mother in the front row. But again, why not? And again, I don't want anyone to get into that sexist bullshit, saying they don't want to hear a woman talking about this because, some of the most disgusting men in the world, like Louis C.K., have been talking about stuff like this for years. But I wonder, if the trombone emoji could become something sexual, what should it? Okay, here's one. Why did the trombonist cross the road to reach the high notes? How many trombonists does it take to change a light bulb? Just one, but it takes a whole section to complain about how high it is. Next up, the Big Bean wants me to make a joke about fishermen. Fishermen, got a lot of respect for them, and let's face it, part of that is because fishermen are the only people who can describe a terrible day as a success, right? Everyone needs to have the positivity of a fisherman. You see a fisherman, you're like, how was your day? Oh, didn't catch anything, nearly drowned, engine failed, fell in the water, drank some hooch, started hallucinating, unreal, wouldn't change a thing. Positive. Earthly Starseed has asked me to do something on UFO sightings. UFO sightings in rural Canada are brilliant because half the time it's not aliens, it's just someone from Moncton driving with their high beams on. The high beam thing has got insane when you're driving around rural roads because half the time it's not high beams. It's the lights have got so bright now. Maybe that's what I meant with that joke. Maybe I didn't mean high beams. UFO sightings, yeah, in rural Canada are brilliant because it's not aliens, it's someone canoeing through a Tim Hortons drive-through, callback, while playing a trombone. Okay, Melissa Campbell wants a joke about the NB New Brunswick vet situation. I don't know which situation you're referring to. I'm going to... I'll go first. Trying to get a vet appointment in New Brunswick now is like trying to get Taylor Swift tickets. You call up and you're like, my dog is vomiting everywhere. They're like, great news. We can see him in March 2028 if he's still committed. I mean, it's easy to get Taylor Swift tickets. Also, more to the point, Taylor Swift tickets are cheaper than going to the vet. I got tricked. I mean, again, I don't want to slag off my vet, but I got tricked recently. We went in for an appointment. They said, we were going in about one thing. She had, an ear infection. And they sent the email saying, don't forget to bring her stools. And like her shites. And obviously, I don't think anyone out there was wondering, what do you mean by stools, James Wood? Her stage stools from when she's doing stand-up comedy? And it said, don't forget to bring the shites. Didn't say that. It said stools. And so we took a bag of shite, hers, obviously, not mine, into the vet. And then I got billed like $150 for the testing of the shite. And it turned out it had nothing to do with the thing we were going in for. The email just generically tells you to bring in the shite so they can then charge you for testing the shite, even though you don't want the shite tested. And you can probably, let's face it, there's probably some other ways to get shite tested. It doesn't cost anything. I feel like every time I go into because it's your dog and you love it more than anyone else in your life. So happy my family don't listen to this podcast. The only person that does is the person I love most, the dog. Love you, Willow. Thanks for listening. Reese, we should put that on the sponsorship document. There's not many podcasts listened to by dogs. Funny when you think how dogs don't listen to podcasts, but they watch a lot of people masturbating, don't they? But I say that. I mean, my dog. It doesn't matter. That was my vet. Okay, I Am Walrus wants a Mark Carney joke. Mark Carney is the only man who can explain the economy in a way that makes you feel both smarter and poorer at the same time. Like he's very good at explaining things, but holy shit, is it doom and gloom? It's like Mark Carney. I listened to Mark Carney being interviewed by my wife's former friend and former colleague Tyler Brûlé, the founder of Monocle magazine. Amazing interview and very interesting. And regardless of what you might say or think about or where you stand on the political spectrum, listening to Mark Carney talk, your takeaway is. Let's just say he speaks a lot better than certain other world leaders. But listen, I listen to Mark Carney talk and I walk away thinking, holy shit, I understand inflation now, but I also know I'll never retire. But that was until I saw how much these VHS videos are worth. I need to sneeze. Sorry about that. And we won't be cutting that out because this shit's not edited. Okay, I'm gonna have a sip of this. Right, Endon C00. These must be TikTok names that 80s and 90s wrestlers. I also just watched that Hulk Hogan documentary, which I loved. 80s and 90s wrestlers were incredible because they didn't have personalities. They had occupations. It was like, I'm a plumber, but evil. I'm a tax man, but very furious, with Mark Carney. It was the only sport where your job was both your character and a cry for help. I also love the fight that got Hulk Hogan famous, where he just happened to be fighting a man from Iran. Like, was that the first WrestleMania? It's like, who do the Americans hate? Iran. Hulk Hogan's an American. We're going to have a villain whose sole characteristic is he's representing an entire nationality who we all hate. I mean, they wonder how America ended up where it did today. That the biggest event of the 1980s was simply a man who uses the N-word, who sleeps with his daughter's friends and is addicted to drugs and lies about it, beating up a man that represents an entire nation of people who most of whom have done nothing to harm anyone in America, and it's the biggest event and most popular event of the year, and it makes Hulk Hogan a global superstar. And then everyone wonders why 40 years later, an illegal, pointless war invasion is anyway. Not to make things political, Joshua Eldridge. Is this going how you all thought it would go? When I said I was going to do 50 jokes, we're not stopping until we get all 50. How many have we done? It doesn't matter. You keep count. Joshua Eldridge, bike lanes. Bike lanes are the only place in the world where everyone is pissed off. Drivers hate them, cyclists don't feel safe in them, and pedestrians treat them like a scenic walking trail. And don't get me started on fucking joggers or runners, whatever you want to call them. It's the only bit of road where three or four, you decide whether I keep the joggers bit or runners bit, maybe not. It's the only bit of road where three groups of people can all be right and still want to fight each other. I shouldn't be laughing at my own jokes, but I do think it's quite funny. Do you agree? Let me know. Just me, thank you, 64. People like you and me moving here from away and trying to understand sayings like very best, the very best. My dear friend, the amazing Robert Gallant, head of Hubcap Comedy Festival, it always says very best, the very best. And it sounds great coming out of his mouth. I would have loved to have known Rob. Robert used to be did anyone know this? Like the chief cop in Shediac. So being the head cop in Shediac and then becoming one of Canada's top like comedy promoters and festival runners is actually they're probably very similar jobs in terms of the shit you have to deal with. So here we go, here's the joke. Moving to the Maritimes is confusing because people end every sentence with very best, the very best. You think it's a compliment, but it's actually a full stop. Lovely to meet you, very best, very best. That's not warmth, that's them gently closing the door on the conversation. So anyone that thinks, oh, very best, it's actually a very polite way of saying, fuck off. Natty Eastwood, hope you're well, my friend. Hope to see you in Moncton this September. Anyway, you're awesome, Natty. It was lovely to see you at the Service Canada event. That was so much fun. Please tell your colleagues I would love to do an in-person thing for Service Canada, because thanks to the great people of Service Canada, I have a bloody passport. Sticky toffee pudding, that's easy. Sticky toffee pudding is one of the only puddings in England or Canada that it is the same as if you were eating hot tar. It basically covers your intestines, and it tastes good, but it sticks to everything. And I don't know why I'm picturing that scene in Marty Supreme where the gentleman covers himself in honey and everyone licks it off. It's sticky toffee pudding. That would be a fun one because no one would ever get it off you. So if someone is out there wanting to be licked forever, cover yourself in sticky toffee pudding. It's not the funniest of all the desserts though, Natty. The funniest of all the desserts is the British classic spotted dick. That is the name of an actual dessert. It's a pie that has little raisins in it, therefore spotted. I don't know why it's called spotted dick, but sticky toffee pudding is the kind of thing that if you eat it, you possibly will end up with a spotted dick. How's that? Okay, word connoisseur 124 wants me to come up with a joke on funny nicknames. Nicknames are brutal because you never get what you want, do you? You know, who was it? What's the movie? Is it Joey Tribbiani that comes up with the nickname Dragon? Or says that he wants to be called Dragon. What's that from? It's from a thing. It's from something. But you never get the nickname you want. No one gets called like Legend. You get called something like, I don't know, Stairs because you fell down some stairs in 2006 and now that's your identity until death. You know, it's always like, you know, Pissy Pants or it's never something good. I mean, I'd tell you my nickname at school. This is a bit, I hope this isn't too much information. On my first night at boarding school, a gentleman, I say gentleman, he was another boy, another child, my age. He was 11, put his finger up my bottom. Now, just to be clear, I was 11, he was 11. So I don't think I'm admitting to something illegal. But I also didn't. I also don't want to get him in trouble, but I didn't ask him to do it, so it wasn't entirely consensual. But anyway, not to get caught up on semantics, just in case the authorities are listening. I don't want Hugh, I shouldn't have used his real name, to get in any trouble. But my point is because I, A, have no shame, B, have what I now know to be ADHD, and I just can't stop talking. Oh, really, James? We hadn't noticed. I, the next day, told everyone that Hugh, I won't say his surname, that he had put his finger up my bottom. So I kind of went in, everyone said, oh, how was your evening? How was your evening? Your first week of boarding school, first week, 11 years old, dragged away from your parents, carted off. You can't speak to them for 3 weeks. That's not traumatic at all. You can't go home at weekends. That's perfectly normal behaviour. You're going to get beaten shitless every day. Anyway, but I just... Sorry, it's on my mind quite a lot. I basically, part of the reason my book is, in brackets very quickly, part of the reason my book is being rewritten is the publishing company wanted more of a thematic structure to it, and that kind of meant me doing something which I hadn't been overly comfortable with the first book, which was opening up about the experiences that I had at boarding school, which were not good. And I've now decided to pull the lid off that. And sorry, this is very... My point is, the funny part of this is, I go into breakfast the next day and I was like, oh, how was your night? I'm like, yeah, not bad. Hugh, mate. I won't say his full name. Hugh shoved his finger up my arse. And then there was a children's cartoon back then called Finger Mouse, where they would go, finger mouse, finger mouse, finger mouse. That was how, it was one of those brilliant theme songs, a bit like, the Dora the Explorer. I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map. That was the song. The Finger Mouse theme song was Finger Mouse, Finger Mouse. Wasn't life fucking easy working in children's TV in the 80s? Jeez, can you imagine come up with that now? I say that, half the shit, these songs, like these Alex Warren songs that are basically... Alex Warren said to ChatGPT, write me a song that morons will love. And ChatGPT said, yes, I will. Not to say if you like the Alex Warren song, you're a moron, but you get what I'm saying. Point being that my nickname for 7 years at boarding school was Finger Mouse. Not a nickname I wanted. I didn't want my nickname to be that someone shoved their finger up my ass. And of course, it gets worse when years later, people are like, oh yeah, wow, this happened to me actually. I was in Sainsbury's, which is like Tesco, not Tesco, that's not helpful for you, Tesco. Sainsbury's, it's like Sobeys, say, in Clapham, age 25, and I'm there with some friends from GQ. I'm finally found my footing in the world, finally found my place, kind of think I have, working for a magazine, see some bullies from school across the way, and someone goes, oh, look, it's Mullinger. And then all, like, 5 of them at once all start shouting, finger mouse, finger mouse, finger mouse. And then, all my colleagues are like, why are they shouting finger mouse at you? And it's like, oh, yes, it's not my favourite nickname, but, an 11-year-old shoved their finger up my ass. That doesn't sound great. Okay, we're going to move on. Next up, Ellie Sparks. It's very interesting that this is the order this comes in. Ellie Sparks, I went to school with. Hi, Ellie. It's lovely to reconnect with you 30 years later. I'd love to hear what your memories of King Edward's School are. Weirdly, I actually recently found VHS videotapes that I was filming of the last few weeks at school. Everything from the cannabis farms that were being grown in Grafton, through to booze being smuggled, through to some quite horrendous bullying, vast amounts of horrific misogyny, and me doing my best impression of a complete full-blown alcoholic. It's absolutely... deplorable. There's funny bits, but there's also some terrible bits. It's basically Lord of the Flies with a dress code. So Ellie has asked me to come up with some King Edward School boarding in the 1990s. Well, I will say this, Ellie, when I first started doing stand-up in 2005, my entire act, or a lot of my act, was based around this. And I forgot this joke, and then I found some footage from the Comedy Store in 2005 that became relevant for the book that I'm writing, called Attention Please, about finally being diagnosed with ADHD. My act used to start like this. I used to come up, and forgive me, by the way, there's going to be swearing coming up. So if you have kids in the car, please do turn the volume down, and not just normal swearing, like English, British swear words, i.e. the ones that here in North America are the worst ones. My joke was always, I would open by going, hello, my name's James Mullinger. I spent 7 years of my childhood being privately educated at a boarding school in Surrey. and there would either be an awkward applause or a clap or some slight oohing. It kind of didn't matter. It was interesting that I actually had the confidence to play with the crowd this much, this early in my career. Like, it was weird that the balls that you kind of have. I guess we got nothing to lose. I know, but you never knew what that reaction would be. But whatever the reaction was, I always got them with the next line because I would say, so I spent 7 years of my childhood being privately educated at a boarding school in Surrey. I thought I should share that with you because I didn't actually have time to write cunt across my face. Bought the house down. It was a very good opening line. And then I would say, but boarding schools are exactly the same as other schools, you know. And forgive me, I can't remember this all perfectly. Every night. And so, anyway, I'd say, so every night, thrown in a bath of piss. We've all been there. Being thrown in a bath of piss, waking up in the middle of the night to feeling Lynx Java being sprayed down your Jap's eye, which was funny. But so Lynx, by the way, to Canadians is Axe Java or Axe Africa. And obviously, Jap's eye is a phrase for the urethra, which is definitely no longer acceptable. I'm merely quoting 25-year-old me, so don't cancel me, cancel 25-year-old me. I'm well aware that calling the hole at the end of a penis a Jap's eye is definitely racist now. I wouldn't, but I'm not going to misquote a thing that occurred because that would be journalistically unsound. So it is vital that and then so with Lynx Java, we sprayed down your Jap's eye, and then of course the old favourite, being pulled out of bed in the middle of the night, pushed into an older boy's room, forced to touch his penis, and then being beaten shitless for being a gayer. We've all been there. So that was my opening jokes. Now I'm well aware that some of you might not find any of that remotely funny and find it all quite disturbing. It was certainly my way of dealing with the trauma. It was also yeah, I guess that's it. It was my way of dealing with the trauma. So it was pre-therapy, stand up. But yes, as I say, boarding school was basically all the flies with the dress code, and it was weird because they didn't see it as being bullied. You weren't being bullied, they would tell you. You're building resilience, which is a lovely way of saying that a 14-year-old named Oliver, has thrown you in a bath of piss. And the headmaster's like, yes, that's initiative. I'll never forget the first week at school being locked in I'm claustrophobic, and I was locked in a locker in Queen Mary House for about an hour. I mean, one of the most terrifying hours of my life, until being hung out of a window the next day, pushed down the stair. Anyway, and I remember going to see the house mistress, and she said, who did it? And I named the person. His first name was Tom. And she went out, and she comes back in with Tom, and she says, Tom, James says you locked him in a locker. And he goes, no, I didn't. And she goes, all right, so are you sure he did, James? And I go, and he's giving me evil looks. I said, no. And then they let us leave, and then that was why I got hung out the window the next day. Good times, just like other schools. So this is the weirdest. This was my entire plan with this pod, was to do 50 jokes that just make this the funniest episode ever. And instead, I'm going into stuff that I haven't even told a therapist. Alyssa has asked, what do cats do in the middle of the night when everyone is sleeping? I believe that is my lovely cousin, niece, Alyssa. If it is, hi, Alyssa. I hope you are all settling into your new house beautifully, and I can't wait to come for a pool party this summer. But cats at night don't sleep. It's like they're running a full-blown, internal investigation. At 3 a.m, they're sprinting down the hallway like they just remembered a crime. You wake up thinking someone's broken in, but it's just your cat doing jumping off a lampshade, going, the case is still open. The cats sleep all day, run around at night. Basically, they are like cats are cokeheads, is what I'm trying to say. All night long, they are banging lines, running around the house, and then they're just miserable and depressed all day. Every time you go near them, they bite your head off or scratch you. They're like junkies. Jeremy McLean, People who scam the Costco sample ladies and basically have a full meal before they leave. Then they have the big dilemma if they should go all out and get the 150 hot dog before they leave. Take a look around St. John. Nobody should be going for thirds at each sample at Costco. Have $600 worth of groceries and get a hot dog the size of a mini stick to go. Well, to be fair, Jeremy, you've written the joke there. That's very funny. Because it's true. I mean, Costco sample tax scammers are incredible because they pretend they're still evaluating the product after their fourth sausage cube. It's like, interesting mouthfeel. It's like, mate, you've literally built a 3-course meal out of toothpicks and shame, and now you're wondering if the 150 hot dog would be too much. It is fascinating, the old trick of like, I'll just try one more, and then the Costco sample person, they're going, so it's $5 off. And it's available. Yeah. Listen, I don't give a fuck. I want it because it's free. I don't want to. But you have to play along. You're like, interesting. Okay, I'll have a think about that. But you have no intention of doing it. I say that. I have fallen for it a million times. I think I don't want it. I'm just going to eat it, and I eat it, or my son eats it, and my sons eat it, and they like it, and then I end up buying it. So it does work. And let's face it. I mean, of course, samples are going to work. You go in for a loaf of bread, you leave with a kayak. Of course, you're going to try something yummy. But it is true. You can. I remember when we first moved here, I would go into Costco when my wife was away on business, just to feed the kids because I was like, I can't get all the pots and pans out, cook. I've got to clean it up, and first I've got to go and buy the food. Oh, God, and then I've got to pick up the crumbs. Come on, lads, we're off to Costco. Phil McGarvey, how about when we catch up on information or ideas that have been working elsewhere, and instead of criticising, we find that we like it? There was a time when we were at least 10 years behind the rest of the world. Well, it's true. I mean, New Brunswick being 10 years behind is sometimes our greatest strength, because by the time we try something, the rest of the world has already discovered whether or not it ruins society. It's not that we're slow. We're kind of, beta testing. It is a funny one. I mean, Uber is the perfect example. Like how we don't have Uber here. Still, to this day, can someone please, listening, just tell? I believe it's some deal being done between the taxi service and the St. John Police. Is that what you've all heard? Caitlin, would you know this as the head of the board of the St. John Police Commission? Not having Uber. I mean, it's completely insane. Like it's not safe to not have it. It's putting there's no excuse for drink driving, but the fact is it's putting drink drivers on the roads. Anyway, Joanne Jardine, that wasn't very funny. So, but Phil, well, we are. Sometimes we're behind, and sometimes we're ahead. I mean, we're very backwards. That the province has abolished paper completely. No newspapers, no magazines. Everyone's doing their best to try and crush ours, and we're the only province or part of the world on the entire planet that doesn't have a printed tourist guide, because that was abolished 5 years ago. And meanwhile, Halifax has 10, PEI has 10, Nova Scotia has. Did I say Nova Scotia already? PEI. Nova Scotia. Everywhere has them. BC has dozens. London, everywhere has them. But New Brunswick thinks it knows best. New Brunswick thinks, we're going to get oh my God, have you tried using that AI app that's on the New Brunswick tourism website? Give it a go. I mean, for example, look up the names of the people who signed off on that thing happening, and then ask it who does that job. It'll give you the person that did the job like 5 years ago. Anyway. Joanne Jardine, moving from New Brunswick to Ontario. Moving from New Brunswick to Ontario is a shock, because obviously here in New Brunswick, if someone honks, it means hi cousin, or watch out, cops ahead. But in Ontario, it means I'm going to kill you, and I've accepted that jail may be a possible outcome. Like, walking around in Ontario with your New Brunswick ways, saying hello to everyone you meet, and everyone's going to think you're going to be locked up. You're going to be sectioned, basically, if you take New Brunswick ways to Ontario. It's a joke, obviously. Ontario is very lucky to have you, and actually, a lot of them have just forgotten how to be nice in Ontario. Matthew, how are you, my friend? Duck, well, that's Matthew Duopos, the legend that gives ducks to famous people and occasionally limey comedians. A duck is the perfect Canadian animal because it looks calm on the surface while underneath it's absolutely panicking. Basically, the way that the duck's legs, it's every, how can I put this? Every parent in a Costco parking lot, would that work? A duck looks calm, but underneath it's freaking the fuck out. It's the perfect metaphor for living in North America today. Curtis Phillips, how are you, my friend? Lovely to hear from you. I hope Claire is doing well. You'd like to hear a James Mullinger joke about fish tanks. Okay. A fish tank is just a television where the cast slowly dies if you forget one chore. How's that? Jackie O'Hanley, kindness. Well, here in Canada, we have definitely weaponized kindness. We hold doors open for people so far away that they have to jog to get it. That's not kindness. That's cardio with guilt on the side. John Lewis, why are there not flights between St. John and St. John's? Well, I agree. There's no flights between St. John and St. John's because even Air Canada looked at that and said, look, we already lose enough luggage without also losing the plot. It's also because they know that the more flights we have to take to get from St. John to St. John's, the more money they make when people go to the wrong one by accident. Alan Eagers, all of the crazy names of places in New Brunswick. Very true. New Brunswick place names sound like someone sneezed while reading a map. Where are you from? Spam sis. Oh, bless you. No, near Nawajawank. I think you're having a stroke. Kevin, beautiful Kevin Cotro, Kevjet. He didn't give a subject. He just said love it, which even though he is a Canadian living in London, that is the most New Brunswick thing ever. Supportive, warm, kind, loving, and absolutely no help whatsoever. Sums it up. Kelly Caldwell, how are you doing, Kelly? Parents thinking their son is the next, or their kid is the next hockey, baseball, basketball star, even though they know better than the next kid. Well, yeah, every parent seems to think their kid is going to the NHL. Can you imagine how insufferable some parents must be in, like, Cole Harbour, where there's been 3 greats, and everyone probably thinks their kid's the next. But you do see those parents where, the kid can barely skate and the dad's in the stand talking about agents. It's like, mate, your child is not the next Conor McDavid. He's the next, assistant manager of a vape shop with knee problems. Sabrina D, the giant lobster. The giant lobster in Shediac is magnificent because every province needs one landmark that says, we had a tourism meeting and this was the best we came up with. Like 20 or 30 intelligent people sat around and went, right, Shediac, so many beautiful things, the beautiful beaches, beautiful people, beautiful views. What do we want our thing to be? A fucking massive lobster. Done. Oh, I see later on someone has asked me to come up with very, very kindly. It is, oh my God, there's like, I've only done like 15 or 20 jokes. Jeez. Okay, some of these I'm going to have to wait till next week, or maybe I just realized I'm not going to get to all 50. You're going to kill me. Otherwise, Ashley Tucker asked for more TripAdvisor reviews. My favorite TripAdvisor review, other than the Cherry Brook Zoo one, which I posted. And incidentally, if you're looking for new stand-up, I was in the Rosse post office a couple of hours ago, about an hour ago, and Tammy said, I've not seen your videos on Facebook lately. I was like them and blah, 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 and I follow you. Okay. And I said, well, that's weird because I'm posting them every day. Last night I posted a brand new one. In the next week, I'm going to be posting outtakes from the stand-up special. In other words, bits of the act that we're trying to make the special. It was a 90-minute show. We're trying to get down to about 45, 50 minutes, which seems to be the optimal length for a stand-up special. I'm also trying to make it as broad as possible. So remove anything too topical or anything too local. So the ingenious legend is Chris Kingston of Salt Cinematic is cutting some of these clips now. My point is, what I'm trying to get to is this, is as I said to Tammy, the way that Zuckerberg and Facebook now works is it only shows you the stuff that people are paying for you to see. So if you follow millionaire comedians, or you don't follow a millionaire comedian, and it could be a comedian you hate, like a MAGA, like a Rob Schneider, and it's going to keep popping up in your feed because he is paying for it / I don't know, whatever corruption is making this pop in your feed. If you want to see my stuff, go to the page. I'm uploading new videos all the time. They're all free. All the content I put out there is free. But you might have to go to the page because Zuckerberg's not going to show it to you. Very quickly, while on the subject, please do subscribe to this podcast. Please do leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you listen to it. And please, 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 I beg, share it. We have close to 1,000 subscribers on this. I would love to get more. It's one of the only ways we can actually keep this going. As I said before, I'll never ask you for money. I will never sell vapes or nicotine or Viagra pills or any of the stuff that Mark Normand and the Rogans, all these people enjoy selling to you, drugs and alcohol and gambling sites. I'm never going to sell any of that shit to you. So the only thing I ask is please share it, because the more people that listen to it, the more we can keep it going. Where was I? Yes, the giant lobster. Okay. Sorry, yes, my favorite trip advisory. Sorry, why are you all distracting me? Stop appearing in the ADHD voices sometimes do. It's weird how they get worse. They get worse and louder and sometimes madder. It's weird. When I have a very, very fun gig like the CPPC yesterday or Bathurst last week. Did I say this already? Congratulations to the people of Bathurst for winning Best Place to Work in Canada. I mentioned it earlier about newspapers, giving away newspapers. I'm turning out a lot of crap. I found a huge pile of old flyers and posters of mine from tour shows in England from 15, 20 years ago, and indeed flyers from my early newspaper cuttings from my early time here. And anyway, I was about to chuck them in the recycling. I'm no pressure, obviously no pressure. But if anyone would like this box of crap of my history, let me know. You can either pick it up or I'll deliver it to you. I just thought I'd put that out there before I turf it all. For next week's podcast, I would love you to message me with anything, things that you hate that everyone else loves. And again, don't hold back. Things that you hate, could be a food, could be a comedian, could be things that you hate and everyone else loves. I mean, I've talked about this before. For me, it's things that I not just hate, I just don't understand the appeal of. Tom Segura would be an example of that. The pointlessness of movies like I saw. Did you see that movie Apex with Charlize Theron on Netflix? What is the point? It's like an 80s horror movie, and it's just kind of non-stop pointless gore, and you're just getting sick of these shit movies that are just the same thing being repeated over and over and over again. New issue of the magazine is going to print this week. I forgot to even mention that. I've been very, very busy with this. It's full of it is what the hell is it? Art and design? No, it's the travel issue. How did I even forget that? Anyway, here's a pet peeve for you guys. Anyone else every time I need to get a document printed in a hotel, they need to get a system. So I talked about this last week already. A system organized whereby rather than me emailing it to an email, then they give me the wrong email address and then it goes through and then they don't get it, and then can you just have a rather than scrawling it on a piece of paper, and the person writing their email address always has a worse handwriting than me and a doctor combined. I mean, literally, it looks like Stephen Hawking wrote it. And by the way, we have permission to make Stephen Hawking jokes now that we know that he is a paedophile. It might not hold up against. Went to Epstein Island. If Stephen Hawking isn't a paedophile, I apologize to him. It's an absolute. Oh, I finished listening to Nate Bargatze's book. If anyone else has read it, let me know what you think. Big Dumb Eyes, it's called. It is very charming. It's very interesting, though, how I'm fascinated by this phenomenon of how when you become a absolutely huge name comedian, you don't have to do much, do you? Like Nate's act is brilliant in its kind of in the minutiae. But as soon as these people get big, suddenly the act, it's like they're no longer trying, because everything they say, people laugh, say, well, that's good enough. And I think that's why I love being a failure, because I have to constantly win over. I can never rest on my laurels and just get laughs off nothing. Although thanks to the people who, again, I posted the video, I think yesterday, of Justin Trudeau, Katy Perry jokes. It's really helpful. There was a guy called Rob, commented multiple times, not funny, stupid. I mean, brilliant, mate. Like so helpful. And I really do sympathise that's, I hate people complaining about people slagging off their stuff, but I generally don't understand it, especially when you're shouting at someone that's not exactly successful. They're sitting in a darkened loft talking to half a dozen people on a podcast. By the way, Auntie T, if you're listening, hi and love you. And there was lovely photos that you posted of Marisha's birthday. So this is how I communicate through the podcast. It's the nice thing about having a small listenership. It's one-on-one. Valerie Stewart put her Shih Tzu is part goat. A Shih Tzu that's part goat is still very Shih Tzu, right? I mean, it can climb a mountain, it can eat a shoe, and then it refuses to come down because the mountain's energy isn't quite to its liking. Elaine Sullivan, online dating in your 60s. Well, I mean, online dating in your 60s, I mean, I hear that online dating is tough. I think I talked last week about the fact that I hear that the over 60s are having more sex than anyone. So I'm very sorry to hear if the online dating isn't great. I mean, it's online dating in the 60s is the best. It's you know, it's like the Antiques Roadshow with blood pressure medication. Everyone's had previous owners. There's some cosmetic damage, but the main question is, do the parts still work? Does that work as a joke? Barbara Ann Hoyt, wildlife in New Brunswick, not wild. Like New Brunswick wildlife isn't even wild. Even the bears look like they're on their way to Canadian Tire to return something without a receipt. Amanda Burgess, my dog loves her dad more. I'm the spare human. Well, being the spare human is brutal. You feed the dog, you walk it, you love it. And then your partner walks in, drops one piece of ham on the floor, and suddenly you're just literally chopped liver. I mean, that because that's a good one. I can come up with something better. Sandy LeBlanc Grenier was, thank you so much for coming to my show the other week. Right about Kevjet, her son Kevjet. If you're listening and don't subscribe to Kevjet podcast, please do. It's absolutely huge in the UK. He is one of the greatest Canadians working in Britain. Also one of the kindest, most handsome, brilliant men. His podcast is massive. Basically, of all the Canadians in the UK, he would be in my top 5 favorites, with, like, you know, Kyla Lingley at number 1, and then, you know, Kevjet would be up there with Catherine Ryan. I would say they're up there. So Kevjet, but anyway, Kevjet is of course called that because his name's Kevin, and he's a jet setter. But again, I need to write a joke, so let's do it. Kevjet sounds like the only airline where the pilot also installed your heat pump. Welcome aboard. Cruising altitude today will be whatever. Kevjet. It sounds like a northern airline in the UK, flying from Blackpool to Marbella. Kevjet. Love you, Sandy. Love you, Kev. And hope to see... Kev, I would love to spend Canada Day with you in the UK. I promise there'll be no Kevjet roast jokes, though. Lord Stephen Charles Crosby says, trying to eat healthy when you're on the road all the time. Trying to eat healthy on the road is impossible. Because, let's face it, the gas station fruit always looks like it's had a pretty hard life. The gas station fruit looks like it's on the road. You pick up a banana at the Irving and think... I'm not eating this. I'm calling its family. This is a cry for help. The Circle K Irving sandwiches, why do they all look like they've been in the bottom of a child's school bag for a week? They look misshapen. The only thing I've ever seen resemble the shape of a Circle K sandwich was when I once saw my 95-year-old grandfather's balls once. And I mean, it wasn't weird. They were hanging down the bottom of his dressing gown house coat. Clayton Carr, you know it's old, but Beaver Harbour tops it all. You're right. Beaver Harbour is one of those New Brunswick place names that sounds totally normal until you say it to someone from away and realise that basically we've all been raised in a carry-on film. Carry-on film, do you know what those are in Canada? Chrissy Lynn says, any joke from you is hilarious. Well, Chrissy, that's very kind, but it's also the kind of pressure that makes a comedian immediately forget what a joke is. the sentence is basically, no pressure, James, just be naturally hilarious. And it's nice, but it's also an insult because it suggests that I don't work on the jokes. Teresa Chapman Harris, Heated Rivalry, the TV show. I mean, I had no idea that I struggled to get into hockey at first, and now I would never have guessed that my favourite thing would be to see two male hockey players 69ing each other, and turns out that's all I've been looking for. Two hockey players rimming is two hockey players sucking on Stanley's Cup. Stanley's Cup. That'd be a good name for Heated Rivalry fan porn. Sucking on Stanley's Cups. Licking Stanley's Cups. Anyway, Sean Mooney, adults that steal home run balls from children, and I mean that's pathetic. I've seen that. Adults that steal home run balls from children should be as punished as people who touch children's balls. A bit much. People that take up more than one spot in the parking lot. People that take up two spots. Yes, there is a lot of that in St. John. How getting overhead space on an airline has turned into a scene from Lord of the Flies. Yes, it has become... Overhead bin space on a plane is now Lord of the Flies with compression socks. I mean, everyone's lovely at the gate, and the second they get on board, Margaret from row 18 is ready to topple democracy for a place to put her wheelie bag, which makes me jump ahead too. I'm going to... Scott Capurro. Everyone knows Scott Capurro, one of the finest comedians in the world, literally. Also one of the first people I made friends with on the comedy circuit in 2005. Many of you North American listeners will know Scott Capurro best as one of the makeup artists one of the actors who plays the makeup artist in Mrs. Doubtfire that turns Robin Williams into Mrs. Doubtfire. He's one of the most brilliantly savage comedians ever. He essentially created the style of comedy that is now so popular amongst the likes of the Jimmy Carrs and the Anthony Jeselniks. But Capurro did it a writ first, does it best. He simply commented, this sums up the difference between his stage persona, which is the most savage, literally makes Anthony Jeselnik look like Nate Bargatze. And, but yeah, his comment under this post was, "You look so happy," which is very nice because Scott knew me back in England when I was always happy, but used to be a very heavy drinker / also occasionally quite depressed. So it's very nice that he says that. Anyway, I'll make a joke on that. "You look so happy" is never just a compliment. What it tends to mean is I wasn't expecting this level of recovery from you, and I'd like the details. Well, likewise, Scott, you always look so happy, and I can see married life is treating you both very well. And you're one of the very few things I miss about England. So I'm going to leave you now with Susan Armstrong Best, was one of the wonderful people who I met. Who I met many times before, but who I saw last week on the plane coming back from Winnipeg. We had so many laughs at the airport with Maestro Fresh West and with Helen Kincaid. Susan purchased an Air Canada branded carry-on bag specifically so you know it's the approved carry-on size, and she gets onto the Air Canada plane and Air Canada still take it away saying it's too big. I mean, that is the most Air Canada thing ever. Literally, buying an Air Canada carry-on bag and being told it's too big is peak Air Canada. That's like buying a Tim Hortons coffee and being told, "Sorry, no outside beverages, you have to leave." Heated rivalry again? Okay, I've got a few heated rivalry jokes. In most hockey rivalries, it's like, "I'm going to smash you in the boards." In heated rivalry, you can see where this is headed. I'm gonna smash you. That's actually quite a good callback to the joke I'm doing in my new special about you smash is the young person's phrase for making the love. It's the only time the penalty box feels like an HR issue. Okay, there's a few more. Karen Wenzel, one of the greatest television producers Canada has ever known. She has put TV producers. Okay, TV producers always say when you're in auditions to just be yourself, and then you spend the next 6 weeks explaining why that version of you absolutely cannot go on television. Chase Haynes, do a joke about Hunter. I know you mean my son Hunter, but I'm going to use a get out clause here, and instead, because I've made a pact to do no more jokes about family, all jokes are about me. So jokes about Hunter. I'll do a joke about hunters. Hunters, the only people in the world that wake up at 4 a.m., sit in the woods for 6 hours, and then come home furious that nature didn't RSVP. Okay, there's still quite a few more to get through. I'm not going to keep the podcast going any longer. Thank you all so much for listening. Massive, massive shout out to the beautiful people of Bathurst, and congratulations again on winning Best Place to Work. Thank you for a great time. Congratulations to the Montreal Canadiens for beating Tampa. Nice to see Canada come together. Not that we want to get all cheap and lame and, anti-American, but, fuck them. And but no offense to our American listeners, Nick Butterworth in LA, and of course Lady Catherine. That's not aimed at you. Love you very much, and hope to see you this summer when you are here in New Brunswick, escaping that terrible Florida weather. Hope the gardening's going well. Hope the pickleball's going well. Nikki Glaser, good girl, well worth a watch. Like I say, if you don't mind, a lot of vagina and fisting jokes. Good luck to the Canadians. Thank you again to everyone at the CPPC for, as I said, a delightful gig yesterday. One of those gigs that I absolutely live for. And these are the unsung heroes of our country, the CPPC. I'm sure you all know this, but the Canadian Public Procurement, anyone working in procurement is basically working around the clock to make sure that we, the taxpayers, get the very best deal. So I just want to say thank you so much to Joanne and Francois and everyone that I dealt with there, and Ellen, the event planner. It's just one of those dream gigs. And then everyone I met with yesterday in Fredericton, including a big shout out to Andrew Kelly, doing some wonderful fun video projects together. We filmed a couple yesterday, and we are filming more this week here in the KV. And again, massive thanks to Chris, Doug, Zan, Sam, and Emma at Salt Cinematic for creating just a Netflix when I say a Netflix worthy stand-up special, I'm not suggesting that I think my comedy is Netflix worthy. I'm saying that they have production value wise created so when you don't see my special on Netflix, it's not because it's because of the jokes, because cinematically it is worthy. So anyway, I'll keep posting clips. Please share the pod. Please email me if you have any questions. Apologies for not getting through all 50 jokes. Okay, 1 hour 10 minutes. How about one more? Richard Campbell has said, how about a joke involving English stuffiness versus Canadian howdy-doism? That's quite a funny way of putting it. Or take a crack at our I'm so sorry habit. What he's also asked what happens when a priest, a poet, and a politician meet in a bar. Because the difference between England and Canada is that in England, if someone says "How are you?" and you actually answer it, they look at you like you've just delivered, I don't know, a French kiss at a funeral. But in Canada, a cashier says, "How's your day going?" And suddenly, I'm telling a 67-year-old woman at Sobeys about my childhood, my marriage, and why I can't, parallel park. And they actually are interested, and I will still be friends with them many years later. That's how it was. Heather McClure, how about getting a haircut? Getting a haircut is weird because you're kind of staring. You never stare at yourself in the mirror for that long, do you? Unless you are masturbating. So I find it easy while you are getting a haircut to masturbate. No. It's weird because, especially if you're getting a bad haircut, because you're sat there watching just your life fall apart for 25 minutes while looking at the root of all your problems, i.e. you. And at the end, when they says, what do you think? You're like, great, because, you'd rather move towns than hurt someone's feelings, because that's the most Canadian ever. All of that said, I love getting my haircut because Christopher James is an absolute legend. And if anyone wants the James Mullinger haircut, why would anyone want that? Who would want the James Mullinger? The only person that would want James Mullinger haircut, a Peaky Blinder, and possibly a lesbian. That would probably be. I have lesbian hair, and I'm proud of that. Kim McNaughton has asked about spring cleanup in New Brunswick. Spring cleanup in New Brunswick is magical because it is. Spring cleanup is essentially, it's like freebie time, isn't it? The snow melts, and suddenly every single ditch reveals the full autobiography of every family that gave up in February. Okay. That's it. That's the pod. Email me. jamesmullinger@gmail.com. I'll do the rest of the jokes next week. I've got millions more. I did write 50. It just didn't go down to performing 50 because you bastards kept distracting me with all that other stuff. Jesus, you got to keep me in check. It's supposed to be my meds. Love you. Have a great week. Thanks for listening. God bless.
Mullinger's Weekly Ramble.